welcome to the morning show. We're coming to you today on WJOPLP Newburyport at 96.3 FM on Channel 9 and on Newburyport Community Media's YouTube channel at ncmhub.org. I'm your host, Mary Jacobsen, and I am just delighted this morning to welcome two of the organizers of a wonderful event. The Repair Café is coming up. Elizabeth Marcus and Margaret Thomas are both here. They're both Newburyport residents and organizers of the Repair Café, which is coming up at the Senior Center Saturday, April 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So first off, Elizabeth, welcome. Thanks for taking time to come to the morning show.
Thanks, Mary. Good to see you again.
It's great to see you again. And Margaret, welcome and thank you for taking time to come talk to us about the Repair Café.
Thank you for inviting us. This is something that we're really very passionate about and are excited that we can finally have it in person again.
Which is very exciting. It absolutely is. Well, I wanted to start just by finding out from each of you, what led you to become involved with the Repair Café?
Well, I was thinking about it this morning because one of the other team members said, "Oh, can you just come help for a day on the first one?" And then
you've got to be wary of invitations like that.
I just found that out. So a day turned into 6 years. But I really like it because it is just the community feeling that you get when we're all together and you're in the room and you hear people talking, and it's just an amazing, positive experience.
Wonderful.
And all the repairers that are there. We did some stuff last summer with the mini cafe, and every time the repairers were there, they're like, when are we going to have another one? So they have been really looking forward to it. So it's the excitement of it in the community event.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah. And I first became involved because I had a general concern about overconsumption.
Yeah.
That, too many unnecessary products were being produced. People were throwing things away without thinking about them. And the, just too much waste. And looking for a way to address that. And so I found out about Repair Cafes. It may have been through Kristen Walsh, who is the Towards Zero Waste coordinator, was at the time, and she's also one of our main organizers, though she hasn't been able to be as involved this time. But at any rate, she was a real champion, and she found out about these repair cafes that had started in the Netherlands back in 2009. And so she went to some, and I went to some that other communities were hosting nearby. And I don't even remember how exactly the rest of the team came together, but
people said, "I want you for one day."
Yeah, that's exactly it. Exactly. Just lure us in.
You're in for life.
Yeah, but it's just such a wonderful idea.
It really is.
So we didn't invent it, but I think we've we talked with other people in the area. As a matter of fact, Ray Fow, who we're honoring him this year because he was sort of the godfather of repair cafes and fix-it clinics in the Massachusetts area, and so he helped us a lot with our first one. Yeah.
Well, you may not have invented it, but you clearly expanded it, and it is just a terrific idea because I think pretty clearly we overconsume, and so, but I think a lot of people, find it either off-putting or expensive to think about getting something repaired. Either seems impossible or it can cost a lot of money.
Yes.
And so the idea of being able to bring, I, for example, have a very lazy Bose CD player that I'm planning to bring. And it was going to get recycled. No, I'm taking it in. So it's just a terrific idea. Well, there are two organizations that are sponsoring the Repair Café, and I was hoping you could tell us about each of them because they also do important work. And one of them is the Time Trade Network, and the other one is the Cities Towards Zero Waste Initiative. So just so we can spread the word about these two organizations and the good work they do, could you tell us a little about each of these two sponsoring organizations?
Well, I could go on forever, but
Okay.
To tell you a little bit about them, Time Trade Network of Greater Newburyport, we're getting ready to celebrate our 10th year of being in Newburyport, and we are a time-based skill sharing and mentoring group. And it works kind of like a bank in the sense that our members, we have about 80 members, and they will, in this bank, it's a skills bank, and they list everything, they list things that they can do. And then when another member is looking for something, some type of a service, they'll look in that skill bank to see if one of the members can fulfill that, and then they'll contact them. And when you provide a service to another member, you earn what we call time credits. It's an hour time credit for an hour of service provided, and you bank that. And then you can use that to get services from other members. And everyone's time is considered equally valuable, so no matter what the service is that you're providing, it's equal.
Yeah, sure. What a great idea.
Yeah. And so I can tell you that just very briefly, just a few of the services that people provide are helping with computer-related things,
so important.
gardening.
Yeah.
My favorite is cat sitting. I do.
Yeah.
Minor repairs. Some of our repairers are members of the Time Trade Network. Rides. Decluttering.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're helping people to move, helping other members to move. So that's the Time Trade Network. In
Another
a
terrific
nutshell.
idea.
Yeah, and again, we didn't start it. It wasn't our original idea. There's a big one up in Portland, Maine, and they gave us a lot of guidance as we were starting up. So,
Well, being able to spot a really good idea and adopt it, I think, is a very important survival skill.
absolutely.
So,
And you always put your own twist
Of
onto
course.
it for
Absolutely.
what works for your community.
right, that's right.
Yeah.
Well,
So, and the other organization is the City of Newburyport Towards Zero Waste Initiative.
Yes.
And that is part of the city's, I'm going to have to read this because to be sure I get it right.
allowed.
It's part of the City of Newburyport's Recycling, Energy, and Sustainability Office, and that's headed by Molly Ettenborough, which I know a lot of people know. And Laurel Hankey is her, works along with Molly. And the two of them really just do an amazing amount of work. But basically, I don't know everything they do, but what people are most familiar with that they do the curbside recycling and waste pickup. They run the Colby Farm Lane yard waste facility, and there's also a recycling facility down there that is open on first Saturdays. And they also have hours during the week, which I never knew about.
Yeah, really. Didn't tell us.
I go on Saturday with everybody else.
Yeah, but you can take things that are like cardboard and anything with a cord, actually. I'm not going to even try to get into the huge list of things that you can take there, but all of that's on the city website, on their website. The other things they do are the Energy Advisory Committee, so looking for ways to help for the city to help conserve energy, and also informing residents about how to do that. And one of the newest things that I'm aware of that they're involved with is an organization, well, it's actually a city program called Resilient Newburyport, which is looking at ways in which the city can adapt to the changes that we are going to be experiencing from climate change.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and they just ran a big grant program that distributed grants to a lot of different environmental organizations in Newburyport. So, again, in a nutshell, I could go on. But they're both great, great organizations.
Absolutely.
And can I plug Time Trade Newburyport is having a program
You may.
on Sunday, this Sunday, which I believe is the 14th.
Yes, it is.
From 4 to 6 at Central Congregational Church. And one of our members, Chris Zernick, is going to be talking about tips for selling on Facebook Marketplace, and she'll talk a little bit about how the mentoring, the Time Trade Network mentoring, helped her to get started,
okay.
And now become very comfortable with using the marketplace.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All great
Right,
projects,
yeah. Yes.
and so much going on, which is reassuring. The whole kind of underlying value of the Repair Cafe is don't throw things out if you can get them repaired.
Right.
And I wonder if you could share just a couple of your best selling points,
Okay.
your elevator pitches, for why people really should think twice before they might instinctively toss something out, and instead consider bringing it to the Repair Cafe, fix it instead of toss it. So,
Well, a couple of things to think about. One is, if you have something that's near and dear to you, so people have brought in lamps and clocks and other things that they got from their father, their grandfather,
yeah.
and they don't know what to do with it. They don't want to throw it out.
Yeah.
And they'll bring it in, and it's one of those things where everybody's like, oh my goodness, and we gather around the table and we talk about it. So something that's really memorable to you is a great thing to bring in. Other things to bring in are things that I've actually, in the last few years being involved in this, really stop and think about before I throw something away. And they all laugh at me, but every time we have a Repair Cafe, Margaret, what do you got stored in your basement? Because I save the stuff up for all the time. So this year what I have stored is bypass pruning shears.
Oh.
Because we have a knife sharpener there, and he will do
Yeah.
those. And so we're getting ready for spring, and I want to bring that in. Other things that you bring in, minor, repairs. You were talking about a CD player. Things that would take, about 20 minutes, no more than 20 minutes to fix, but it's something that it's valuable to me, or I don't want to throw it into a bin, or I
Right.
really have use for it still,
Right.
and I need to have it. So other things, we have sewing, so another item I'm bringing in is a bathrobe that has a sleeve that's coming down, but it's a thick piece of material, and I can't fix it.
Okay.
So I'm going to bring it because we have somebody who has a heavy-duty machine who's going
Right.
to work on
Yeah.
it. So things like that, minor sewing issues are a great thing to bring because, again, those sit in a laundry basket forever.
yes, they do.
The mending pile.
Yes, the mending pile.
That's
and
right.
you need to have that taken care of.
Yeah.
Right.
Or, I started putting jewelry that breaks in a little bag so I can take it so they can take
Right.
care of that. So it's things that I wouldn't think twice about in the past, just tossing
Yeah.
it. But now I just think, there's still a lot of life in this, and I want to use it.
Yeah.
So
Of
Yeah, well, that
course,
makes-
you're only allowed to bring
the
three
Three
items.
items,
Yes,
which
yes.
seems fair.
yes, and I have to be really careful.
But you mentioned a lot of items that might be broken have a lot of sentimental value.
Exactly.
So I'm sure it's very meaningful for people to be able to bring something and have it work again.
Yep.
Yes.
And they might have given up on it
Yep.
because a legacy like that is much more likely to get passed on to future generations if it's actually
Absolutely.
functional.
Absolutely.
So,
Do you remember the stuffed animal that we had someone come in from the sewer, and there's their child's stuffed animal?
Yes, and you can tell the story. That was
I don't
going to be one of
remember
my
that.
favorite.
I don't remember
Go ahead.
that. I don't remember the story. I remember
Well,
they
it
came
was-
in.
It was just somebody bringing something in that's irreplaceable. Was it?
Right.
Did an animal get a hold of it?
I
or
think so.
something?
Yeah, the dog or somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, of a treasured stuffed animal. And
I know what my dog would do with
Brought
that.
it
So I
in.
think I know what's coming.
Yeah.
But anyway, it looked like it wasn't salvageable.
Yeah.
Oh.
But when we have a couple of hand sewers who work on stuffed animals.
Yeah. Yep.
That's their
how cute.
specialty.
Yeah.
So they were able to fix it up, and the mom and the child were just delighted.
I'll
that it
bet
had
they
been fixed.
were.
Yeah.
I'll bet they
Yeah.
were.
But just to throw in one more thing about why and why to bring things in. Sometimes the older things that you have are much better made
Yeah.
than what you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you notice things that you buy now, there's a lot of plastics.
The phrase planned
them.
obsolescence comes to mind.
Exactly, which has been
Absolutely.
around since World War II, actually. But I think things last even shorter periods of time
Yeah.
now. But sometimes repairing something that's older
Right.
is in the long run is a better investment.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's more durable, long range.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And the one more thing is that the repairer, if they can't fix it, they can say, well, this is going to take more than, 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
This is like a 3-hour job. But some of the repairers do repairs as a business.
Right.
Or as a hobby that they,
Yeah.
and sometimes you'll be able to get them to fix it outside of the Repair
Yes.
Cafe. But also, if not, they can refer you to other people in the community who might be able to fix it and give you an idea of what it's going to take to fix it. You need to get this part. Order this part. And then also, if it can't be repaired,
Towards zero waste.
we'll have Towards Zero Waste there.
Right.
So from the city office to tell you, what the best way is to dispose of it.
So there's a lot of contingencies that the Repair
Absolutely.
Cafe is set up to deal with,
Yeah.
which is really great.
And we repair about 80% of what comes in.
That's pretty impressive.
We're impressed.
Yeah, right, really.
It's our repairers that do it,
Because
of
you have
course.
no
Great
control
job.
over what kinds of things and what kind of condition people are
Yeah.
going to bring, and I'm sure
Yeah.
some of them are
Yeah.
very challenging. So,
Yes.
well, it's become clear that you can bring stuffed animals and sleeveless bathrobes. But let's give people a little more information about the categories of things that they should bring, can bring, and then maybe some guidelines for what, no, that's really not something that's appropriate to bring.
Sure. First of all, bring clean items.
Oh, good point.
So, if you're bringing in some mending, make sure you've cleaned it beforehand. But you bring in mending. We've had holes fixed. We have people who will fix sweaters. So you pull your sweater out and it's got all these moth holes in it. They'll fix those things up. Hems, buttons. If you've got a sleeping bag where you need the zipper not replaced, but sewn back in,
Yeah.
absolutely they will do that. So think about heavy items that you might have. We'll have a jewelry repair person who can repair those things. And also keeping in mind, some of those, while we say 20 minutes, some things like that and our woodworking require glue, so it might take longer to get them
Yeah.
done, and those will go sitting there drying. So we have that. Someone with ceramics, so again, you get back into the memory, this was my grandmother's teapot, I really
Yeah.
want it. So they do those sorts of things. We have, one of our big things is the lamp person. We always have a long line that
Oh, I'll
the people
bet.
will bring
Yeah.
their lamps in, and he can fix those. That might be one of them where he would say, you need to go get this part, but then come back in and come to the front of the line and I'll fix it. One of the things we actually really want to encourage, though, with that is you stand there and watch them fix it, because maybe you can do your next one.
Yes, yeah.
And that's part of the whole goal, is to make you independent as well. I mentioned we have a knife sharpener this time, so you can bring
Yes.
along knives, simple things. He will tell you about other stuff that he can do, but we're doing simple things like knives, and I told you the pruning shears, those sorts of things. So getting ready for summer and spring, they're all set there. We also have this time a bike repairer.
Great.
And so he will do, again, simple things that you need
Yeah.
to have done. He's a person who has his truck and he brings everything with him, so you can bring your bike in to have it just taken a look at. I almost brought that too, but I got it fixed without him, so I'm okay on that one.
Like simple adjustments.
Yes. And we have a guy who will do wind-up clocks, which is where you get into the memorabilia piece to it. And I
Yeah.
brought him a couple of my clocks. You brought him one.
I did.
And then we have woodworking. And so chairs or a table leg that just doesn't seem to stay up anymore, or doesn't stay on, or it fell off, they will re-glue everything and put it back together. Some of the things they put together, you look at and go, oh my goodness, a clock fell off the wall and shattered. They'll stand there and piece it all back
Oh,
together
wow.
again. So it's great what they do.
Yeah. And did you mention jewelry?
I did.
Yeah, earlier
That's
you
the
mentioned
glue.
you
Okay.
have stored up some.
I stored that up, but it's also the glue.
And another interesting thing is that we don't always have the same. We don't always offer the same
Sure.
repairs at each
Yeah.
cafe, so it's important for people to, if they go onto our website, they can find out what
Right.
we're offering
Right.
this time.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a woman
Oh, yeah, the caning.
doing caning.
Oh, Okay.
Who's volunteered to come in. And small appliances.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So going to
Great.
what you were asking about what you should not bring in.
Yes.
So we mentioned a little while ago about the planned obsolescence in the plastic.
Yeah.
So as you start thinking about things now, if you've got something that's totally encased in plastic and doesn't have screws that you can unscrew in order to get inside,
Yeah.
the repairers can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Because you end up having to break the shell, and it's, they're not going to do that.
And then that makes
Exactly.
perfect sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. And also, I assume anything that's really too big.
Yes. If
Like
you can't
probably not
carry
a
it in.
dining room table, but like
No.
smaller end tables.
No, I've asked about those things, but no, if you can't carry it in, you can't. You don't bring it
Okay,
in.
so being able to carry it in
have
is
to
a
carry it in,
criteria
yes.
to use.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
But I did. It wasn't a repair cafe, it was a fix-it clinic, which is
Oh, okay,
more where
different.
you actually get in and help them fix it.
Ah.
Than repair cafe,
Okay.
which normally you're just, you may give a little assistance,
Yeah.
but you're just mostly watching. But I did take a leaf off of a dining room table, and I just brought the leaf in.
Oh, well, that.
Well,
Because
you
the
could
leaf
carry
was
it,
what
yeah.
needed to be
Yeah.
repaired, it needed to
Great.
be.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
anyway,
Great.
sorry to
No,
interrupt.
that's what I brought chairs in before, so you
Yeah,
can bring
sure.
things that you
Yeah.
can carry with you. But as I said, some of the things require drying, so we put them
Yeah.
off to the side.
Sure.
We'd like you to stay there while your item's being repaired, so you can see it, and then take it out with you. But if we have the glue stuff and has to sit someplace, we have a place where
Yeah.
that'll be the drying table, and you pick
Yeah.
up your item.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes I think the great thing about what you're describing is sometimes if you know what you're doing, some items might not be that hard to fix.
Exactly.
Things that we think are hopeless. If you know what part is actually missing that was supposed to be there, or what needs to tighten, and what kind of tool you need to tighten it, then odds are you're going to go home with something that's functional once again. So that sounds really great. And I think that one of the things you're hoping for as an impact on people who come is that they will hang around and watch something being fixed. They might well be able to fix it if it breaks again, or if their other
Yep.
dining room table chair has the same problem. They
Yep.
might know, where that screw is hiding that just needs an Allen wrench.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
yeah.
so proud.
It
To tighten
definitely
it, so-
changes your mindset.
Yeah.
And I know that they don't do zippers.
They
I
don't
know that
stall.
they don't do
Yep.
zippers. Exactly, like put new ones in.
Right.
So, if just a personal anecdote, my daughter had this heavy-duty bag that she really likes, and the zipper wasn't working anymore. Like it had come off the track.
Yes, been there.
So I said, well, I know they don't replace zippers, but I wonder if you can fix this. So I went on YouTube. I looked it up. I found a number of different ways that you could
Yeah.
do it, and I fixed it for
Oh,
her.
good
And
for
I,
you.
I said, oh,
Excellent. All right.
pat yourself on the back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then
you
my
might
son-
be headed toward a future as a zipper repairer.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, and then my son says, "Hey, I heard you did. I heard you did her zipper. I have this backpack that I really like. That it's it was
Right.
the same thing,
Yeah.
but it had come off track,
Yeah.
and just a way that you could go back in and fix
Yeah.
it. So
Well, and I think that one of the other impacts that you hope might happen is that people who do stay and observe and get interested and engage with the process might show up the next year as a volunteer repairer. Does that happen very often?
we did actually this summer. We had
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
that so we were at the farmers market. And it was just like we had a few different kinds of repair. I don't remember exactly what at that particular one. But a couple came by and they said, "Oh, this is cool. What are you guys doing?" And both of them volunteered to be repairers.
Excellent.
Yep.
Coming up. So
Did they already have repair knowledge?
Oh,
Or
yes.
Okay. Oh, better yet then.
some of our very skilled. They
Oh,
had
that's
some
great.
skills that definitely enhance the things that we can offer.
Yeah, that's great.
And the caning, the woman who does the caning came to the summer. I think she came first, and then she came one week and then came back
Yeah.
and did a demo there.
Yeah.
And it was amazing how the people just were drawn to her and taking their kids over, saying, "See, this is what we have, and this is what we can do." And it was just really nice, the community engagement and just pulling them in. So she did that and sat there and worked on her own item because we didn't have any other items.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that at the Senior Center it becomes kind of a community bonding event that
Yeah.
people hang out and watch, and
Yep.
they're all
Yep.
working on the
Yep.
different projects
Yep.
around the big room. So
Yep.
it sounds like a
And the repairers,
say.
just
Yeah.
loved
Yeah.
working together
Yeah.
because
Oh.
it's being together with
Sure.
people who are interested in doing the same kind of thing that you're
Right.
doing, and
Right.
to see them just talking over what the
Yep.
best way is to
Yep.
fix this, or just keeping one another company
Yep.
while they're
Yep.
tinkering,
Sure.
Yep.
absolutely.
or sometimes we will find that, and I can't remember an example, but I know this has happened. Somebody will bring something in to be repaired, and will refer them to a particular type of repairer, and it ends up that another type of repairer has to come over.
Oh, yeah.
And all of them need to put their heads together to figure out what to do.
They must love that.
They do. They do.
And we love it.
Yeah,
Because I think
it's
that's
fun
the
to
kind
watch
of
it.
mindset,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious to find out, you've mentioned a lot of different kinds of things in the course of our conversation that get repaired or that you brought in, from the stuffed animal to the, but I'm just curious, has there ever been anything that really kind of amazed or surprised you, some really unusual object that somebody brought in?
The monkey lamp.
That was what I was going to say.
Sorry.
What's a monkey? You mean it? Okay, go on. Just
It was
what?
a lamp in the shape of a monkey, and it was white. I remember that.
Yes.
And the woman I think she had the bet with her husband. If she could get it fixed, then she could put it out, and if she couldn't get it fixed, then she couldn't get it. So she was desperate to get this thing fixed. And this is one of those cases where a couple of people got involved in it, a couple of different
Okay.
repairers, and they got it fixed, and she got to go home with her monkey lamp.
It was,
Yeah, big.
Big. And
the
you got it?
monkey was this big.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
those of you on the radio, Elizabeth, that's about 2.5 feet.
Right.
And you got to figure the husband was surprised and might have
He
been
was
regretting
hoping.
the bet.
Yeah, really.
Darn that
It
Repair
can't get
Cafe,
fixed.
they did it. Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
exactly. And then, of course, the one that we told already about the stuffed animal.
Oh yeah, that's
that one was
also
a
a
neat
great
one.
story.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
So
Wonderful.
there's emotion involved in some of the
Yeah.
objects that we own.
Yep. Yep.
So, well, over the years, the cafe has run, and I believe it's 6 years now. The cafe has been running.
Well, we started 2018, but this
Okay.
is our 6th cafe coming
The
up.
sixth cafe coming
Yeah.
up, right? Well, how many people have come, and how many items have you repaired? Have you tracked that?
Yes, yes, I have, and I wrote it down because I thought you might be asking that question.
I'm tricky that way.
Yeah.
So we've had, so the first cafe was in April of 2018. And so we had 5, and we were in the midst of planning our April 2020 cafe when we all know what happened.
We all know what happened.
And so this is our first one since January of
Wonderful.
2020.
Yeah.
Our
Right.
first full cafe.
Yeah.
But in that period of time, we do try to track what we take in and how many visitors we've had. So we had 580 visitors.
Wow.
950 items. And as I mentioned, it's about an 80% repair rate.
Which is very impressive.
Yeah, and and then we had a couple of mini cafes.
Right.
At the farmers market,
Farmers market,
because it
right.
was open air
Right.
and
Oh yeah.
Right.
So much fun.
just sort of to get our toes back in the water again.
Sure.
It was a great PR move, though, too. People stopped by. It was amazing to me that how little people knew about the Repair Cafe, and they would come through the farmers market, and they're like, "What do you do?" And it was they really enjoyed standing there watching it, and
I'll
it got the
bet.
word out. And as Elizabeth said, we did get a couple of people who came as a volunteer. I kept asking people if they wanted to join the organizing committee, but that didn't
For a day,
happen.
right?
For a day, yes. Yes, and you can be
One
from
day only.
and you can be from anywhere. It's the greater Newburyport area. I actually live in
Yes.
Newbury.
Yeah.
So we look for anybody, and anybody can come. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter where you live either. You can bring your stuff. You can stay and work with us. And we're a great group of people.
Yeah, I'm glad you emphasized that. So it's Greater Newburyport.
Greater Newburyport.
So Newbury, Amesbury, Salisbury.
Yep.
So, and I believe if you want to get something repaired, I think I read you should get there by 1:30 at the latest. Is that correct?
That is
This cafe
correct.
runs between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., but because it takes a certain amount of time to repair something, please have your objects there by 1:30 p.m.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just to repeat, it's going to be at the Senior Center Saturday, April 27th, which will be here in the wink of an eye. Time, you got the feeling time has sped up in the
Yes,
month of
it
April?
has.
Something's
Yes.
going on in the
Definitely
universe.
Spring trying to break through.
Yeah.
It's working hard, and it needs to work harder.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so let's remind people. Then you mentioned the website. Could you give the what people should look up?
Yes, it is Repair Café, nbpt.org is the website, and they can get all the information that they need there. And if I can just put in a quick word, I don't know if we talked about this earlier on air or off air, but Margaret and another one of our organizers is going to be at the Earth Day celebration organized by ACES, which is the Alliance of Climate and Environmental Stewards, and that's going to be on April 21st, Sunday, April 21st, from 12 to 3 at Market Square,
Wonderful.
Bullnose in Newburyport. So
Great.
they can come down there and find out more and ask questions. Yeah.
So much going on in April.
Yes.
So
No
much.
wonder the time is going fast.
Yes.
It's just jam-packed. Well, Elizabeth and Margaret, thank you so much for coming on the show to talk to us about this wonderful event. And thank you for all that you do with all the organizations that you work with. I really appreciate your coming to the show, and I look forward to seeing you at the Repair Café.
Oh, I hope so.
I know.
You have your items picked out already?
Well, I only had one. I'm going to go look around now
You
that I
should.
understand more about
Ask a friend.
I will, absolutely.
I have some items you can bring for me.
We'll talk. Thank you both so much. That's it for today, everybody. Please join us again next Thursday at 9 for the morning show. Till then, be well.